No Tea, No Shade, No Pink Lemonade, ain't nobody singing like Chloe.
Especially not live.
A lot of the girls not singing live at all.
Y'all already know what time it is. I got the Black Female Council. We are here to talk about Chloe's album, all of the conversation around Chloe, what is going on, what is right, what could be fixed, and what could be improved on.
Yes.
I love me some Chloe.
I do too. I love Chloe a lot.
When was you first introduced to Chloe?
Oh, years ago. I'm one of the girls who watched Chloe and Halle on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So I was watching them like literally when they were kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I was watching them, play their instruments, sing their covers, all of that. So I have been a fan of Chloe and Halle both for a long time.
Okay.
A very long time.
Okay.
A long periodically time.
So I got introduced to them via Chloe and Halle, I think the album.
The Kids Are Alright, their debut.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first song I probably was got my attention the song they had did for that movie that Oprah was in.
A Wrinkle in Time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I've been wanting to talk about Chloe for a minute. Deshaun is a music enthusiast, knows music. You can read music too, can it?
I play, I sing, I write.
Yes. So I'm y'all know, music is not my it's not my, but the branding I understand and I recognize. And I was I want to talk about Chloe stuff, but I need someone who has him, so no other person can do it except besides you can do that. Period. So Chloe's been doing some interviews. She just recently did an interview with the Breakfast Club, mm-hmm. and she was getting on DJ Envy because DJ Envy didn't listen to the album. A lot of people haven't necessarily listened to the album, but they claim they have because they've been dragging it all on Twitter, saying the album was not good, dragging the sales. I think she probably did 14K, 10K, mm-hmm. the first week. And they've just been very hard on Chloe.
Yeah. And
I just really haven't been able to understand why is that. It's been going on for a couple of years because when she first started to do the solo stuff and people was hyping her up when it was both of them, mm-hmm. Chloe and Halle, they was oh, she performed, she danced, she be da-da-da. And then when she started doing her solo stuff, people were saying she was doing too much. They kind of questioned her, like her being sexy, her being an adult. What is going on? It's a lot. But we're going to start somewhere.
It is a lot. I don't know. I think Chloe is an enigma to me. She's very. I think that her experience is going to be very unique, mm-hmm. because
I hope you don't sue us for saying unique.
I know. That's what you said. So after that, I was wait a minute.
I don't want the beat drop. Here, come on, Renaissance.
Queen. But I think it's going to be very interesting to watch her, her experience and her growth, because Chloe is a star. Mm-hmm. I think the bottom line of it all is that Chloe is a star. We are watching her on tour right now, her sold out tour,
period.
Right, where she has a crowd full of people singing every lyric to every song. She's performing her ass off. She is very clearly an incredible performer. She's an incredible vocalist. She's a producer. She's a songwriter. She does it all. And I think that that makes her different from just about every single person in the industry right now who's her peer or mm-hmm. or is in her class. Mm-hmm. And so for that alone, I'm rooting for her. I listened to the album and I loved it.
Okay.
I think that the album, I don't think that it's necessarily a groundbreaking project.
Okay.
But I think that it does a good job of being the conceptual concept that she wanted it to be, right? Where she's taken the listener through what heartbreak for her has felt like, what it feels like to be placed in this box, what it feels like to be navigating an industry in this point in time that wants to place her like into one single position, while also taking the listener through her feelings around how she's navigated heartbreak. This feeling of wanting to. To me, it feels very similar to like SZA's Kill Bill and like a lot of actually a lot of pop and R&B artists right now are doing a lot of music about like wanting to see their exes hurt or like killing their exes, whatever. But she's taking the listener through like what it feels like to deal with the heartbreak, the heartache, the backstabbing, the trauma, and the drama of love. And I think that it's like, in that regard, it doesn't feel new. It doesn't feel fresh. It's like, you know, we've heard endless heartbreak albums, and I don't think that it has to be new or fresh for her to be able to release it, right? Like, I think everyone deserves to have the space to share their story in whatever medium feels good for them. And so in that regard, it's like, I'm listening to it as someone who wants to hear good music, not necessarily as someone who's expecting her to do something groundbreaking with this album. I didn't expect In Pieces to be like the second coming at all. And so, yeah, I think that like it's a beautiful album. My favorite song on the album right now is Worried.
Okay.
I think that how she starts off with that vocal stacking is brilliant. The lyrics are I don't think that they're necessarily like. So, some of my critique of the album is that a lot of the lyrics for a lot of the songs feel very elementary. They feel very like, they're repetitive, they are like very trivial, they're just very like young. But then there are some songs where it's like, she really pulled, or whoever was writing with her, really pulled like from their depths, right? So I think for me, that was sort of the biggest issue I had with the album, was that some of the songwriting was just way too elementary, was way too trivial, was way too surface, while some of the other songwriting was like a little bit deeper and allowed us to like really hear more about who Chloe is. And I think that has been my critique of her since her solo debut with Have Mercy. Have Mercy was a cute moment, but it didn't give us what we've witnessed in the songwriting that Chloe and Halle have done together, even before the debut album with their first EP, the name of which I can't remember right now, but like they have just always done some incredible songwriting and incredible vocal production. So to hear Have Mercy, where Chloe is like, Have Mercy and Treat Me, where Chloe is like doing these very sort of like minimal vocal performances over top of like these trap beats or these like really, I think, unnecessary samples, just felt,
it just wasn't her.
It didn't work. It just didn't work for me. But then, yeah, so like I just think that Chloe generally is an incredible artist who is really trying to figure out who she is outside of Chloe and Halle the group, outside of being Beyonce's mentee, outside of being someone who is oftentimes compared to the likes of Normani and her other peers, even though I don't think that they're necessarily peers. And she's just trying to find, like, give us who Chloe is. And in that regard, I loved In Pieces, because I think that it did give us a glimpse into what Chloe, or who Chloe is and what she's been navigating the last couple of years. And I can only hope that her follow-up will be something that feels a lot more groundbreaking.
Okay. I have not listened to the album in its entirety. Again, like I wanted to talk about like the things for me that I'm seeing her doing right, the things that fans are doing wrong, because I think a lot of the things that Chloe is experiencing is unnecessary, like criticism and hate. Like people are trying to provide criticism, but it is so fueled by hatred, and I'm like, I wasn't downloading Chloe's album the first time it came out. I wasn't interested in it like that. But I noticed that some people who were not just had their like already criticism of her were like wanting to listen to it to drag it. And I get like, hey, let me listen to music and see what it's giving. But I just didn't get I felt like people were getting more attention shitting on her work than saying that they liked it. And I'm watching Chloe's like interview with the Breakfast Club, and I think she did a really good job as far as like PR, answering the questions and deflecting questions about Beyonce and why Beyonce didn't promote the album. I think she did a phenomenal job with that, and how she deals with the negativity. Like when she does the Instagram lives, she's talking about, well, y'all didn't like that. She be clapping back.
She do.
And I appreciate her for doing that, but I also hate the fact that she has to quote unquote like perform like that she's not bothered by the criticism. And as a person who like creates and puts like stuff out, the comments sometimes they do get to you.
They eat you up.
They do eat you up. Like it happens.
Yeah.
But I don't think that Chloe is necessarily doing anything wrong. I think she's just doing her and learning. And I feel like people are not giving her a space to grow as an artist. Like you said, they're already comparing her like, oh, well, girl, where's your crazy in love? Where is your da-da-da? I was just like, girl, like, it takes time. Like, we saw what happened with Destiny's Child and how Beyonce became to that.
And I was actually going to say that. It's like, Crazy in Love was not Beyonce's initial debut single.
Exactly.
Her initial debut single was Work It Out, which was released a year prior to Crazy in Love. And it didn't do very well.
Didn't do much numbers?
It didn't do that much numbers. So why would they waste their time?
Why would Matthew waste their time?
And in hindsight, Work It Out is literally...
She's cute.
It's an incredible record. Like the Neptunes produced it. It was a very funk-influenced song that was used for one of her three film entries, which was the Austin Powers film. And in that regard, like, I actually do think that Chloe is following the Dangerously in Love era to a T, right? Chloe is in 2 or 3 different films right now.
Yes.
Beyonce also was. She had Carmen, a hip opera. She had the Austin Powers film, and then she also had Temptations. Right before
all 3 different type of movies,
3 different types of movies, and she had the Work It Out single that didn't do that well, and then she had singles from the Dangerously in Love album that didn't make the album, but like were from that era, right? So like singles that were like I Can't Take No More, which was released in 2003 as well, the same year.
Music knowledge.
Period. Like
that's why they're here.
And so it's like people I think are comparing her to Beyonce, but are doing so with like 2020 hindsight vision.
Surface level.
The Beyonce that we saw initially, like Beyonce was dealing with coming out of a group that was on hiatus, and they're like, okay, you want to be the star? Beyonce was being met with all these critiques of like, everyone knows that Matthew set you up to be the one in lead, you know. So like now you gotta prove, you gotta prove to us that you deserve this spot. And Beyonce's album did not come out in the time frame that it was supposed to. Like, it was supposed to be like Michelle, Beyonce, and then Kelly Rowland. It didn't work out that way. So I'm just like, I think that people are being really hard on Chloe while not remembering what Beyonce's career looked like at the start. Like, she navigated a lot, and a lot of it didn't do that much numbers. It wasn't as great as we remember it. And then Crazy in Love came, and that sort of skyrocketed her career, her solo career. Obviously, Beyonce at this time had already had several number ones and Grammys, all of that with Destiny's Child. So, yeah, when people say that, I'm like, y'all have to remember, Beyonce did not come out the gate swinging. People was writing articles about her saying that she's no Ashanti, right? Like, they was eating her up.
They were.
And now Beyonce is Beyonce. So, I mean, I definitely think that Chloe, if there is anyone in this generation who has the ability to be the next superstar, right? Because we have been talking for a while about how we really don't think that we see superstars anymore. if there's anyone who has the ability to be the next superstar, it absolutely is Chloe. I just think that Chloe has to, what I want from Chloe, and this is just me as a fan of someone who enjoys music, who loves music, so take it or leave it. But what I want from Chloe is for her to give us lyrics and vocals that actually help her shine. Mm-hmm. Right now, she just has like, Chloe has a beautiful voice, but it's lost in all of the production that just doesn't showcase how beautiful her vocals are, and then lyrics that sort of pull us away from the sound of her, like the sound of her voice, right? Mm-hmm. So like Beyonce also got critiqued about how she's like, the average Beyonce song is like third grade reading level and things like that. But Beyonce sounds...
They did make jokes about Beyonce not being smart.
They did, and they do. Wow. But Beyonce sounds incredible over amazing productions. Mm-hmm. And I think that Chloe, once she finds like what her production chops are, because she produced The Kids Are Alright as well as Ungodly Hour, and produced 12 out of the 14 tracks on this debut album. So she is a producer, and she's an incredible one. I think once she finds what her solo production sound is, and is able to really like hone into that and then build her songwriting, her solo songwriting. Because again, Chloe, the solo songwriter, is not Chloe, the Chloe and Halle songwriter. Mm-hmm. It's two very different songwriting skills, which I also think just speaks to how skillful she is. But once she finds that, I think she'll be fine. And she does have what it takes to be the next one. Like I really see her as, and I see her and Doja Cat to me are like the next pop stars, and of course Lizzo. But Lizzo is already that girl.
Yeah, she is selling out shows.
Like
stadiums.
Lizzo is that girl.
Like stadiums. Like Lizzo is selling out. Girl, very talented.
We got to do a video with Lizzo too, because that's my girl.
Yeah, that's my girl too.
But yeah, I think once Chloe, like, I think that she has what it takes. It just, she has to find her sound. And I think she is.
And I think people are not allowing her to do that. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, I know
we don't know what artist development is anymore.
We don't. And we're not giving her any grace.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm about to like just name some stuff, like, since we're talking about artists and stuff. Rihanna was not Rihanna when she first came out.
Those first two albums,
besides
a few singles,
were not, like, and they were just not good. Like,
true.
You know, there was some people like, you know,
I was having some Honda replay.
Yes.
Otherwise, yeah.
Like, it was, I was tapping my foot.
I was tapping my foot here.
I had like one as a ringtone or something, but Rihanna was given, I think, I don't necessarily, can't remember if like people were like heavy on her, but like people kept giving her like chance because they knew over time that like Rihanna would be able to do what she is doing now. But it just wasn't given in the beginning. Yeah. And there were way more cameras in these artists' face, not just cameras from us, but also the access that they have to show us them. Mm-hmm. Like she can, at any moment, get on Instagram Live and do an interview for something that happened. Yeah. Versus like, I'm saying you had to set up something. It had to be like, hey, I'm going to appear on what's the name show at 8 o'clock in the morning. Right. That's not happening.
No, that's true.
Like we have way more access, and I think that what you're saying makes a lot of sense as far as we're looking at like from a 2020 lens. Mm-hmm. Things are not the same as they were. And people want to say, oh, it was worse back then. No, I think the shit is still bad. It's just changed.
It was different, exactly.
I mean, these folks are still signing shitty contracts. The music industry is still out here trying to make every cent off of artists and stuff.
It's still very predatory.
It's still the same thing.
That's true.
And I do agree. I think that Chloe definitely does have it. When I saw her VMA performance, I think that was her first performance.
That was her first solo performance. Yeah.
Solo performance.
It wasn't great.
I did not like it.
Yeah.
I did not. The girls was like, "You a hater?" I was like,
it wasn't a great performance.
It wasn't. I didn't like the dance. I didn't like the choreography. I just didn't like the hair in the choreography. I didn't like the song that much either, and I just don't think that was a song to perform.
I don't like Have Mercy. I just don't. And what annoyed me about Have Mercy and Treat Me was that she kept trying to make the live performances these big grandiose like things off of songs that are really not that. Like if you want to have those type of performances, make music that matches it.
Well,
Have Mercy and Treat Me simply are not that. And yeah, I didn't like it, but when she did the BET Awards performance,
I did like that one.
and she had that Adina Howard mix
I
in
did
there,
like that.
I was like, girl,
Okay.
now you that performance is my favorite of hers to date. Like
Yeah.
she ate that performance up.
But see, look at that. Like,
She grew.
grew in that time frame and learning and saying, okay, this works, this doesn't. And that's the same with any creator. Like, even like me going back and looking at videos and stuff, and I was like, oh, people enjoy this, I can do this better. It gives her time to perfect her craft.
Yeah.
And I think also that Chloe loves making music, which
Yes.
matters a lot too,
It
because
does.
in this space, she can just say, you know what, y'all eat me up too bad. I ain't
I'm
doing
done.
I'm done. Girl, let me go back and do these cute movies, because I watched, about 40 minutes.
She's a good actress.
Yes, praise this. Let me tell you, y'all know I am not watching no religious and gospel too. Girl, y'all just pushing it. But I made it to 45 minutes. But Drewski fine ass did help.
Drewski is fine.
I love me some Drewski. But it was just good. Like Chloe it seemed natural for her. And also, I have not watched Swarm, but the stuff I've seen that was cute too. Have you seen Swarm?
I've saw clips. I've seen clips
Yeah, I don't think
of both movies, but I haven't watched them.
Yeah. Well, Swarm wasn't a movie. It was a
Oh, the series. Yeah,
the
that's
series.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. But Praise This was on. I think it's on Peacock. Yeah, I watched it, and she did a really good job. Like her voice sounded amazing. The character was taking like rap songs and music and just turning it into a gospel. That takes some time. Like even her singing it and performing, it was really, really cute. Even though it's a movie, it's like produced and stuff. It was still good production as far as like how she sounded and stuff. Once again, I think that the criticism is just like the same criticism that's not held for other artists.
I agree. I think people project a lot onto Chloe but I think that it's because people know how talented Chloe is.
Okay.
And I think that it's like what it really seems like is to whom much is given, much is required type of thing, which is not fair to her because she deserves the right to grow. But it feels like people are like, I know how talented Chloe is, and the talent is not matching the music. However, that album is so good to me, and this is, follow me for a minute because it's going to be a wild comparison, but follow me for a minute. I'm going to get to where we're going. But to me, I'm sort of engaging Chloe right now in a similar way to Brandy. When Brandy debuted with Brandy, it was a sickening record, to be clear. I'm not comparing the music by any means because the whole album was full of classics, basically. But Brandy was like...
Brandy's first album was actually not my favorite, though.
It's not my favorite either. And what I'm saying is like, Brandy came out and was like emulating Whitney. It was like, this is Whitney's daughter.
Okay, I'm following you.
And I think that Chloe is like, right now, this is Beyonce's daughter. So everything that she does right now is being compared to Beyonce. But when Brandy linked up with Darkchild, she innovated a completely different sound. Like a sound that has now permeated every part of the music industry, not even just R&B, but across genres.
A lot of girls have Brandy.
Right. I imagine that Chloe, if she is able to either get into her own producer bag that like gives her the room to do that, or link up with a producer that she has that kind of chemistry with, she will be able to separate herself from the Beyonce effect and be Chloe, because now we know Brandy as, yes, Whitney's mentee, but also Brandy as Brandy. And Chloe has, what I'm saying really is that Chloe has the chops, the talent, the skill to be Chloe as Chloe and not be in someone's shadow. And I want that for her because she is incredible. She really, really is. And I'm really excited to see Halle's solo music as well, but that's a different conversation.
A whole nother conversation.
But what I did feel like, and the Breakfast Club interview helped me a lot with understanding one thing. I wasn't sure why they split up so quickly, because Chloe and Halle, like, the first 2 albums also didn't do that much numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the albums were, it's not like they were like, these big streaming giants. So I was like, why did they go solo so quickly? But what Chloe was naming was like, they sort of had to. They were in the middle of the pandemic. Halle was in London recording or filming for The Little Mermaid, mm-hmm. and Chloe was like back in LA on her own, and they just sort of had to like produce, and that's what they couldn't visit each other, they couldn't do anything, so they had to like go solo.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
That made a lot of sense to me. I was like, okay, this makes sense for why you chose to do your own thing. And in the process, she's finding herself, and like they're going to come back together to do their like Chloe and Halle group thing again, but they had to like find what it meant to be individuals, and I love that. So I think that like
that's perfectly articulated.
Yeah, I think that when I heard her say that, I was like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. And so I think that right now she's just like, she's trying to submit herself as someone who is formidable, someone who can do this shit and wants to do this shit and is going to do this shit. Because we're in 2023 and not 2003 anymore, we have had direct access to Chloe and Halle for so long. So we don't really recognize the fact that we're still in the artist development era. We're still, like, this is the process that we didn't get to see with our greats because they weren't on social media. Mm-hmm. And so I also think that people just have to be kinder in that regard too, because we're witnessing artists don't get to go through artist development anymore in the ways that they used to, because we have direct access to everything about them.
Yeah, and a lot of artists have to be accessible.
Yes, exactly. They have to if they're going to stick, which is a big reason why Normani hasn't. Besides, that's a different conversation.
Great.
So,
couple of video essays.
Yes, but I think that like the artist development part is really important, and I also think that we need to get back in the business of hiring good A&Rs. We do not have good A&Rs anymore. A good A&R will put you in the right rooms, in the right spaces with the right artists, with making the right songs, and we don't have good A&Rs anymore. And now artists are having to be their own manager, their own A&R, their own producers, their own engineers, their own everything, and it's like and not get to focus on their craft. Exactly. So I also think that, yes, we just are witnessing what it's like to do artist development in real time in the public eye. And people think that because you did artist development under a group, that it looks the same as a solo artist, and it doesn't. Beyonce's Destiny's Child artist development looked completely different from Beyonce as a solo artist. And it's just the growth that is required. Michael Jackson as part of Jackson 5 was not the same thing as Michael Jackson as the solo artist.
And you can even connect that to, creators and stuff who had to, probably were doing podcasts and stuff together. Probably was like the Bodega Boys. I can't think of the name of their stuff.
Jesus and...
Yeah, like how now, like they're separated, so it has to be this other person. Like I had to sell myself as an individual now. Which is a lot of work.
It is. It's a whole
lot of work. It is like, trust me. And I've only dealt with it a little bit, but it's like it is more work because people are going to continuously ask, where is such and such? Where is such and such? And then you have to make them not think about that person anymore. Yeah. And that's a difficult thing to do when you still do care about this person. You don't want them to forget, but you also want to like say like, hey, this is me, I'm focusing on my own work. And I think that is good that she talked about that on the Breakfast Club and how they did separate so quick.
Yeah.
Because that is something that I think maybe some people will give a little bit more grace, like, oh, okay. Because I think folks already have this preconceived notion of Chloe that she broke away to do her own thing because she was feeling herself and she was dancing better than Halle was, and which honestly, at least like misogyny, because y'all already had like preconceived like her being a nasty individual and wanting her own attention and all that other stuff. And
they sexualized the fuck out of her, and then when she just decided to take that back for herself,
It's like, no.
It was an issue.
Hello?
And then, but what she said was like, it gave Halle the opportunity to find her own confidence too, because Halle was like, obviously having to watch her sister like be sexualized in this way, and then folks are like, just push her to the side like she's an ugly duckling. And yeah, like y'all got mad at Chloe for taking back her own sexuality that y'all assigned to her.
Did she even have it from the beginning?
I mean, but black girls don't. Black girls are often sexualized at very early ages. Yeah. And like Chloe is 24 right now, I think. 23, 24.
Alexa, how old is Chloe Bailey?
Chloe Bailey is 24 years old.
24 years old.
Chloe is 24 years old. So at that time, Chloe was like 19, 20. Like she had just become a legal adult. But folks are sexualizing her in that way because that's how the adultification of black children, period, and black girls in this case specifically, happens. So it's like, when she got to a point where she was able to, you know, take back her own sexuality, it allowed Halle the space to find her confidence, because Halle she be putting on now these days, like she be showing out. But also it made people angry because they wanted to be able to have control over Chloe and not her have control over herself. Now it's like, oh, we want you to be sexy, but you're doing it wrong. This is not the way we want you to be sexy.
And we know that this happens a lot with female artists, period. Like Britney Spears definitely experienced it. So if the white girls are experiencing it.
Because Madonna went through it too. I don't like her, but...
The Vogue Queen. But if the white girls are experiencing it, what do you think the black girls are experiencing? Hello?
Yeah.
And that's what pisses me off, because I'm just like, y'all are not giving these girls any type of grace. And then y'all are shade and say, well, what's going on with the money? Like, it's just like the money. Every performance I've seen with the money has been really good.
Yeah.
It's like y'all don't understand how the industry works. It's like people don't understand that it's going to be harder for black folks. It's going to be harder for black girls to break and to do these things. So it's like, we're not helping her out by constantly criticizing things that she cannot like control, like her own sexuality. I remember she was doing videos, she was because it's a meme now of her like moaning over the mic and stuff. I thought it was cute. Like, but it's like, I was doing goofy shit. Like, we all was doing goofy stuff. Like, girl, like.
And the song that she was covering in that was it was a very sexual song. But the meme is funny.
The meme is.
The meme is funny. But like, I also do think that Chloe be doing too much sometimes. Not like doing too much is like, girl, you need to stop trying to be so sexy. I don't think that's doing too much at all. I think that like sometimes, to me, when I think about a song and like the structure of a song, it builds. There has to be a climax.
We love a climax.
We love a climax, and that to me is one of the most beautiful things about music. It's like it takes you on this journey. If you start out from the very beginning, giving all of that at the top, it's like, where do we go from there? And in that regard, I think like, yes, we can like figure out how to structure things or like how to move things along, but never tell her to stop being sexy or stop like being who she is, because it's a part of what makes her her.
Yes.
And no tea, no shade, no pink lemonade. Ain't nobody singing like Chloe.
Especially not live.
A lot of the girls not singing live at all.
They're not.
None of the new girls outside of Halle are singing.
They're not even rapping live.
Well, shout out to Doja.
Period.
Shout out to Lizzo.
Period.
Shout out.
Them two girls that they don't sing rap. Another conversation.
Right. Shout out to Lotto too. Lotto be rapping her ass off.
She do. I'm actually really impressed with Lotto's.
And Megan. We love Megan.
Yeah, yes, definitely love Megan. Lotto's like rebrand. Yes, I really thinking about like, you made me forget, bitch. You threw me off.
I'm sorry. You say you love her rebrand, Lotto.
Lotto's rebrand as far as Because she was the colorist. she was a girl saying something about a black friend looking like an orangutan.
She said
she was calling herself an essential worker.
Mm-hmm.
But she's been like, her interviews have been really good. She's been talking. I'm just really impressed with Lotto.
I agree. She has like her, again, artist development.
Mm-hmm.
We had to watch her go through it, but she has developed into a real artist.
Yes.
And she raps her ass off.
She
Like
does.
Lotto is one of the biggest heavyweights in this new class of women rappers.
Mm-hmm.
Rappers in general, to be quite honest.
They definitely out rapping the men.
They are definitely are rapping the
running
men.
circles around.
Like Lotto, I love Lotto. So yeah, like, but
And
all
that
that
means a lot if you hearing from Deshaun.
it's true. It's true because it's not too many artists that I'm like I go up for, but
Especially if you have a past of like saying some shit. But I think Lotto has definitely learned
she has.
from that. And that is just in the last 3 years because I was chewing Lotto up. I had a video there.
Me too, girl. I found a tweet that I made about her a couple years back.
Especially when she was calling herself an essential worker. I said, girl, how you an essential worker and you in the club throwing up thousands of dollars and stuff? What's going on? Like, you need a job, but you out here in the club throwing money. And you out here performing. But I'm loving seeing Lotto now and all the things. But that's been over the course of 3 years. Like, even her interviews talking about what it's like being a female artist and the things she's dealt with made me like, okay, see, I'm reminded of how difficult it is for women, but for black women, especially a female rapper, who she can't even do songs with men without them trying to fuck her.
Right. Which.
And Lotto is a little bit outspoken. So Chloe can definitely be dealing with some of these things.
Now I'm glad you said that.
And we might not even know it because now we're moving on to...
I gotta eat her up.
Well...
Chloe, I've been being real nice and kind this whole video because I really do love you, girl. But the fact that you did that song with Chris Brown and then try to chalk it up, all the hate that was, all the responses that you were getting from that as hate, that was fucked up.
It was.
And I think this is the bad part about everyone having access to artists because then you can't determine what's valid criticisms and what's just people being haters. But overwhelmingly, the overwhelming majority of your fans did not want that song.
No.
And I think that I'm really tired of the R&B pop girls trying to collaborate with Chris Brown, but not just Chris Brown, also with Future. Those are 2 songs on that album that I did not listen to and I will not listen to because even though Future is not, like the type of abuser that Chris Brown is, I still do classify Future as an abuser because I do think that leveraging somebody's child is abuse. I do think that being the womanizer, the fuckboy, is absolutely
The bad
abusive when you're doing that consistently. And the way that he has openly harassed Sierra and Russell by way of Sierra and using their son as leverage to do so is abusive behavior.
Yeah.
Point blank period. So I have that
black too.
So I have that critique of all of the folks who collaborate with these artists, but like the fact that Chloe didn't take that as valid critique from people and just chalked it up as people being haters is like, I didn't like that, I didn't fuck with that, I don't fuck with that. And I think that is the bad part about artists being so easily accessible, is that they see and hear all of these opinions and they don't really know what to take as valid.
And all of it is noise.
Exactly.
All of it is noise.
But Chloe, I don't know if you'll ever see this video, but if you do, I love you, and I'm actually I'm a fan of your music and of who you are and all of your talent. But working with Chris Brown and with Future and with abusers in general, like it's a job.
Yeah.
It's a
And
job.
that's for any artist.
It is.
For any, and I hate that female artists have to look out for that because these male artists don't have to worry
They don't
about
have to worry
that.
about it at all.
Because people want to say
But it's also because they're all abusers. So
because people say, well, Chris Brown, y'all hurt his career, y'all don't want because he didn't get some award or something. It's like Chris Brown has still been able to do backflips and stuff on these little tours and stuff. He's still out here getting like some singles out every once in a while, the same songs, and is doing well. He can still jump off yachts in the middle of the damn ocean, so he's not out here struggling.
Right.
But these female artists who are trying to, grow, I feel like they felt that Chris Brown was going to give them give Chloe a hit. And I was like you said, I literally said this in my video, I referenced, Chloe's fans a majority of them are very, to me, mindful people who are consuming like music and stuff. Mm-hmm. They have a specific politic, like I'm not listening to that, get that off the TV, period, just not interested in it. So to dismiss that, it's like, no girl, like I probably would give you a shit because I understand how this stuff works, but it's just like, you're not recognizing that this is not the tea. It's pissing me off even more. And I understand Chloe wants to kind of perform their little nice girl, like I don't believe in negativity. It's all, rainbows over here, but it is negativity out here. Right. That's what's going on.
It just is.
It just is.
Yeah.
So to act like you don't see it, you're missing like the things.
Yeah. And I think that for me, it's like, some of it can be label pressure, right?
Yes.
Like I know for a fact, just because I know how the industry works, that a lot of it is industry pressure. But what I also know,
especially from the label,
right? But what I also know is that one, sometimes your integrity, your morals, your values have to matter more than your career.
Period.
And I know that intimately.
Listen, we both.
I know that intimately.
Listen,
and two,
we have to speak on some stuff that would probably put us not considered in a room.
In a lot of rooms. Like, we know that intimately.
And find out 2 years later.
Right. So that's number one. But number two, like, what's also true is that a lot of these artists have just been fans of these people for their whole lives. And so they don't know how to separate the two. But you can do like my good sis Doechii, like, because I love Doechii too.
Period.
And Doechii raps her ass off
and performs
her ass off as well. But Doechii, she saw that pushback with that Kodak Black record, and she released a single version,
period,
a solo version.
She didn't say anything.
She didn't say nothing in response. And I didn't love that, but
she did something.
She did do something. I wanted to hear that song so bad from Chloe because I heard a clip of her singing.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it sounded so good. And I was like, damn, I know this song is good. And I know that it samples Usher, which sample was Dionne Warwick. And so I was like, I know that this song is so good because you just can't go wrong with a Dionne Warwick sample. And especially if you're using like the Usher record to do that sampling.
What song is that from Usher that is sampled on?
Throwback.
Oh, that's one of mine.
One of my favorites. That whole album.
We need to go to see Usher perform.
I would love to go to this record.
We need to. I'm about to put it on the phone.
Let's do it. No, for real, Miss Klarna, because
girl, sponsor our next video, cause
no, for real. But
yeah.
I wanted to hear that song so bad, and the fact that I can't because I just refuse to support him is like, damn, girl, like you're ostracizing a lot of your fans, and you can't. It's not fair to just chalk it up to haters or just noise because it's not just that.
And I'll say this. It was interesting how quick, I wasn't surprised how fast Chris Brown and his fans turned on Chloe. It was just dragging it, they calling it Shea Butter Twitter, they were saying all these negative things.
They got that from Nicki Minaj.
Yeah. Well, and it's this person wasn't even, how come you like that? Because I think Chris Brown didn't have to really say anything.
He did make a couple statements on her behalf.
But he's just speaking.
But only because it was him getting ate up.
Yeah. Yeah. But his fans were just chewing up. I was just like, it doesn't do Chloe any good. Because their fans already probably do not like Chloe like that anyway. They're not
They were tuning in because of him. This is what I mean also by people being like, it's just Twitter, it's just Twitter. For new artists, it is not just Twitter. Everything about your brand, and you can speak more to this than I can, everything about your brand matters, even on Twitter. So I think that the amount of backlash that she got from announcing that record absolutely played a role in her first week sales.
Yeah.
I really do think that played a role.
Yeah, because people are actively not only boycotting Chris Brown, but they're boycotting Chris Brown as infecting Chloe. Which means they were not as enthused by listening to the album. Because also you're not saying anything. You could have just said, hey, we're going to release without it.
Yep. And
you could have just did that.
I read like 3, 4, or 5 different album reviews when that came out. Every single one of those reviews mentioned the Chris Brown record.
Oh yeah, there was one real nasty.
One was nasty. And I want to eat that writer up.
Yeah, they said their artist doesn't even, or their writer doesn't even listen to black music.
I mean, yeah, they praise Harry Styles. I mean, no tea, no shade, because Harry Styles actually did have a really cute album, but be for real. But like 5 of those album reviews all mentioned that song.
But it's also,
so it's not just Twitter.
If you look at all of the articles and stuff that are being written when it comes to pop culture, a lot of them are referencing conversations on Twitter.
On Twitter, yeah.
Even when I do YouTube videos, I head to Twitter first before I head to Google. Like, I will go to verify it. I'm saying, what's the conversation? Even
what's happening?
Yeah, even some like subjects that I might think is too touchy, people are not ready for. I can go on Twitter to gauge the temperature and see, hey, like if I talk about this, am I gonna get ate up? Like this, because Twitter it might not seem like the general public, but it's enough of the public to matter.
It is.
To matter. Like, it's a very powerful platform. I actually tweeted about it the other day. It's interesting how Twitter is in shambles right now, complete chaos, but we're still on it.
Yep.
Still on it. So I think she should have listened to that. Like, Chloe, I get it. I get that you have to, like, this good Christian girl stuff, which I want to get into another conversation. It's just, and this is just like a conversation, that things that I have noticed and that people have noticed. I feel like that she does play, I wouldn't necessarily say play, because I think other artists do. I know Brandy does it. I love Brandy. I love Brandy, but Brandy plays it a little bit good girl. Like, what do you mean? Like, very positive. But honestly, to no shade, that's actually her for real in real life.
I believe that.
That is her in real life. I remember people was like saying that she was being fake when she did the video, when she did the verses with Monica.
Oh, she wasn't being fake.
I was like, no, but I meant, like, this is how she is. Like, for real, she's very thoughtful, even when she's checking up on me. Now I had my moment. Because Beyonce checked up on me
every now and then. Right.
But I feel like that Chloe wants to make music that is like, Christians are not listening to, like, whatever, because Christians are listening to everything and doing everything, but it's just like,
everybody Christian.
It's okay to let loose, sister. It's okay to, talk about some stuff, but I get that she is under Beyonce and that she doesn't want any criticism of her, like folks like going to talk to mama to tell her to tone it down or whatever, embarrass Beyonce per se. But I do the niceness stuff. I would like for her to be, honest sometimes. I don't know how to say that, how to bring that up. You know what I'm talking about?
I do know what you're talking about. It's like this ploy, like playing into this idea of being the good girl, right? Like, and
it's not her fault.
I don't think it's her fault at all. I think that I was going to say that is a trope that is that directly derives from patriarchy, from misogyny, where that performance is how you have to show up in order for people to take you seriously at all, to engage, to even meet you into the room, which is unfortunate, right? Because I even was watching her on the Breakfast Club interview when the new host, I don't know what her name is, but she asked her, she was like, do you feel like you've like stepping into this new role where you're like taking up for yourself, you find that you're being a bitch or whatever? And Chloe was like, no, I don't think so at all. I think it's not about what you say, it's how you say it. And when I heard that, I'm like, this is just very, that's like the foundation of respectability politics, the foundation of having quote unquote decorum, right? And like you have to be mindful of how you say things and therefore like thinking about how people will police your tone and all the things like that. And the way that she said it was like some liberatory practice. And I'm like, this is what that's the result of being socialized or taught to perform in this particular way.
Yeah. And I feel like that's one of the things that kind of like makes it hard for me to consume it. Like consume her music and stuff. I think that's one of the things. Like I don't have any like hatred or whatever towards Chloe, but I think that I'm already not a fan of Christianity. I'm not a fan of Respectability. All of them, just like, girl, get out here and say like, hey girl, like y'all be chewing me. Like, and she does do a cute job of saying like, girl, y'all chewing me up. She was on Instagram. She was like, y'all didn't like this song, but now y'all want it. And like you paying attention to Twitter. But I do think it is very hard, like you said earlier, to be able to tell the difference between legit criticism and people just hating, because it does happen.
And I was gonna, I know that, and I know that you do too. Like, I know what that feels like.
Girl.
Because while I do not have the platform that Chloe has, I do have a lot of hypervisibility, and I know what it feels like to not know when people are offering genuine critiques that are constructive, and when people are just shouting into the void because they hate you and they don't even fucking know you.
And you'll never be able to please them.
And you'll never be able to please them. And more often than not, it is the latter.
Yeah.
But there are some times where it is the former, and you, maybe not you personally, but the people around you have to be able to tell you which ones you should be paying attention to and which one you shouldn't.
I feel like that's important. Like my friends know, like when I'm getting chewed up for whatever reason online, I trust my friends to be like, "No, girl, you was in the wrong."
Right. Right.
I'm like, "Hey, girl, you was in the wrong." Da, 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 da. They're not gonna tell me necessarily to delete it, but they're gonna say, "Hey, girl, how you move is how I move."
Right.
Like just like that.
Exactly.
But yes, there are some times where I do like, okay, y'all is right. Like that does make sense. I need to work on that. But there are some stuff I can't fix. How people perceive me as being a very negative, nasty person. I'm just like, there's nothing that I can do to fix that, because I'm already a fat, dark-skinned person who is living with HIV. Y'all already see me as nasty. Like, I'm not going to be able to change that at all. So I'm not interested in performing it for you or trying to give you a better image of myself when you already have an image of me already. And I feel like that is how people see like Chloe, and it helped with the discussion about why she broke away from Halle.
Yeah.
Like she wanted to just do her own thing. She just wanted to be able to put her ass and titties and stuff all on Twitter. I was like, and if she did.
And if she did.
And because the ass and the titties is bouncing.
But she also had, like, she was doing that with Halle. Like, I will never forget, I don't remember which performance this was, but they were in like their like flame costumes or flame outfits. And Chloe was on stage singing "Cool People" like it was fucking "Partition" by Beyonce. Like, I'm like, girl, not you singing "Cool People" like it's the sexiest song in the world, but that's just how she has always performed. Like, she's just extra, and I live for it. Like, please be a star. And I think that I don't typically agree with Twitter analysis around music, because oftentimes it's very just wrong, and consumers don't actually know what the fuck they want a lot of times, to be quite honest.
Even when they be talking about TV shows.
Right.
They be telling
they don't know what
they be telling elementary, y'all need to have a shootout on the show. What?
No, consumers don't actually know what they want a lot of times.
They don't.
But there was a point where people were saying that, damn, I lost my train of thought.
About her music or something? They were saying
it was about her performance. Oh yeah, where they were like, Chloe is just so extra, whatever. But then folks were countering that by saying like, well, y'all have gotten so accustomed to people not doing shit, like people not performing for real, people being lazy performers, that now that you see this like over the top performer, it feels abnormal to you. And I don't know if I agree with that completely, because I do think that we still have a lot of great performers right now, right? Like, I'm going to continue to point to Lizzo. Lizzo is, I think, the icon. Like, I think that Lizzo is the icon, and we should be looking to her to know what, if there is a next superstar, it is her.
Yes.
I think that we should be looking to her. But I think that people have gotten so used to generally like very lackluster performances.
But they do that with Lizzo. They say she does too much. Well, they say
she do. I think
that's a whole nother.
That's a whole different conversation. But people have gotten so accustomed to lackluster performances and performers that like you don't know what it looks like for a real performer to put on a show. When I see someone perform, I want to feel like I just left a real performance. I need to be out of breath. I need to feel like I have just watched you perform.
It's a journey.
And it's the journey. Like I need to see that. I need to see that. Like and Chloe, I think she gives that when she, like I said, when she put on that BET Awards performance and she did Surprise with the Adina Howard record and she did Treat Me. It was like. It was brilliant. It was beautiful. It was choreographed. It was also extra. It was smart, and it was clean. And I think like when we think back to early Beyonce again, because everyone goes to Beyonce. One of her most famous performances is the BET Awards. Period. She's on the floor.
Period.
Beyonce was on the fucking floor, weed flying everywhere, like just doing her thing, having fun. And I want to see artists have fun. So I just think that
you think we allow artists to even have fun?
I don't think that we do. I think that that is what I'm saying about the downside of having direct access to our artists. It's like we don't allow them to have fun, and we don't know what having fun on stage looks like anymore. And everything has to be so choreographed that there's no room for like the impromptu performance,
creative, like jumping outside of the box.
Exactly. And so like
it's not expected. It's not.
I think that this new era, what we're going to really be seeing more than anything from artists is the tours. The tours are going to matter more than anything else. And I think that has always been true, but I think now artists are going to be able to shine on tours in ways that they will not be able to do on like televised performances, right? Before, like you said, it was like you were an artist, you would wake up at 5 a.m., you had to perform on the Good Morning America show at 8 a.m. And you gotta be on, right? Beyonce was performing full vocal performances at 8 a.m. Right?
Ain't no way, girl.
You just had to do that, and it was part of your tour. Like, right? You would like stop at Good Morning America. You would do the Grammys. You would do the Grammys. You would do the VMAs. But I think now what we're going to see is like, if you want to see an artist like real performance, you have to see them on tour. And
now that you say that, everybody who have went to the Chloe tour have said, people who I follow who've not necessarily been the biggest fan of the album said, hey girl, like, let me listen. Mm-hmm. And the clips I've seen, chewing.
Yeah. All the clips I love, especially, she's, there's two clips in particular where she's like, oh yeah, that one too. But like the break, like she's been performing, she's been just eating, like, and you can tell she's in her element. She's
surrounded by people who want to see her.
People who want to see her.
Mm-hmm. That matters a lot. I think that that is the Today shows. Like she's going to learn it.
Yeah,
she's going to learn because like what I've seen now versus when I saw the VMAs. I know that was her first solo performance, but it's just. I knew Chloe could do better. I knew it was a lot of nerve, a lot of.
And she knew she could do better.
But it was just all over the place.
Yeah,
it was just all over the place. But these other performers have just been chewing and eating and doing like really, really good. And I'm just so happy to see her continuously grow. I just think we just need to give her space and allow her to. But I will say that it is difficult for an artist which you are sensitive about your stuff.
Yeah,
you're sensitive about your stuff, and everybody is sensitive about their stuff.
Yeah.
But everybody's not getting in front of a lot of people.
Millions of people.
Yes. Because that's what's stopping people from doing it. Because baby, Justin is not a comedian. I know, not traditional. What's funny is I was out when I was in high school. People said that I can see you being a comedian when you.
You mean like doing stand up?
That type of stuff. Okay. But I was like, that was my me thinking in 2000. I'm like, girl, I'm not getting in front of no damn telling knock jokes. But now it's changed because I am in front of thousands of people.
Yeah.
but I'm on from their TV, I'm on their phones, they're watching me on breaks and stuff. So it's like I found a way to do it, but I was terrified of it. So the fact that Chloe's out here making these mistakes in front of us says a lot about her.
Yes, I absolutely agree. Because like with me, right? Like I said, I'm a songwriter. I read music, I play music, and I sing. But I haven't done like public performances since I was doing praise and worship in church before I went to church.
Pictures.
Okay.
We saw you in your marching band outfit.
Well, I mean that, but I meant like
other stuff.
Like when I was doing praise and worship and I was in marching band, all of that.
Okay, come on behind the music.
But I am a public speaker. I speak publicly,
and everybody
every day.
And everybody can't do that.
Everybody cannot do that.
Woo!
But when I first started, I was like, this is
a lot.
It's a lot. It's like you have eyes on you at all times and all the things, and I always give grace to people who can show up on stage in front of people, irrespective of how many folks it is, and give their all, because it is not an easy thing to do. No matter what like field you're in, whether you're singing, speaking, playing, whatever. And so I just think that if you are able to hone in on that craft, develop it, give your all to it, you can be the best person in your class. And I think that Chloe is well on her way to that.
Period. With that being said, Stream in Pieces. What's your favorite song on the album?
My favorite song on the album is Worried. I love that song. Why? I love that song because I think that, one, the way that it starts off, Chloe comes in with her vocal stacked. So she's like doing the harmonies, doing like the acapella approach, and then it's like this soft string of instruments that come in, and it's just like very melodic and beautiful and pretty. And then she just goes in, and it's like the way she starts off. I think it's funny. I like the way that the rhythm of it, the sound of it is just like very pretty, but also very modern, very contemporary. And then the chorus itself, like she sounds beautiful. Like I don't typically like the sing rap style because I oftentimes feel like artists who do the sing rap compromise their vocals, and I want to hear her vocals. But she was able to give both in that song, and I just think it's gorgeous. It's just a very beautiful song. I also love the opener, even though she's not like singing on it. She's doing like these operatic vocals that I think is beautiful and really sets the tone for the album. So yeah, but there was like a 4-track run at that point with like I think it starts with Worried and ends with Lose You, I think it's like Make Me Feel. I don't remember the title tracks, but or the titles of the tracks, but Worried is my favorite. It's just so good. It's so good.
So I would say that as far as like the branding and her image, I think that it is. She said it wasn't supposed to happen, but I love the fact that Praise This. The movie came out around the time that her album is dropping and stuff. I feel like that definitely helps, because watching that, I fell in love with her again. Like watching it was just like, okay girl, like as a person who's not like jumping to consume her music, I'm watching this this movie and I'm just like, okay, this girl is talented as fuck. Like she has it, let me listen. So who's like, people want to drag it and say that they're not doing the job, like Beyonce should have promoted. Beyonce promoting the damn album is not gonna make folks listen. I'm so sorry. That's not how shit works.
And it's not her job.
That's not her job. But people like seriously think that someone with a big following can share something and people are going to stream. That's not how it works.
It's not.
Now, different things work. Like if Beyonce would say, hey, I bought me a King of Reed's hoodie. The girls probably would go and like, let me buy one too. But music, that's something different. Like, yeah, people will.
They might have gave her one like a stream, but it won't keep them.
No, it doesn't, and it's not going to make
music has to do that.
Yeah, and it's not going to jump it up to #1 single. It just doesn't do that.
And it's not Beyonce's job.
It's not.
They are signed to Parkwood.
Period.
That is the label. That is their job to promote the album. It's not Beyonce's job to promote the album. Beyonce is not Parkwood.
Yeah.
And
Beyonce got her own stuff to
even
promote.
if Beyonce, right? Hello, we need the visuals, girl. But even if Beyonce were to do that, then it would be, oh, Chloe only has the success because Beyonce posted her or whatever. It's like
damn you do, damn it you don't. Which is why consumers, like you said, consumers don't know what they want.
They
It's
don't know what
like
they want.
if Beyonce was to, that would be the criticism.
Exactly.
And it'd also be like if Beyonce shared it, how the hell are folks ain't listening to it? That happens.
But also, besides Taylor Swift and Drake, no one is putting up huge numbers anymore. I mean, like, and by huge, I mean like in the millions, right? Like even Beyonce with Renaissance, this is one of her best-selling albums in a long time. It gave her her longest-running solo single since Halo. To be clear,
Yeah.
even Beyonce first week sales was 800,000 something.
Yes.
Taylor Swift and Drake are the only ones who are putting up those type of numbers. Even Adele's first week album sales for 30 were less than they were for 25. Like we're just in a different era now with first week sales, and so I just think that like people, we are going to have to figure out a different way to think about how we're consuming music, because I be seeing like Stan on Twitter now being like, oh, this song was so slept on, it's so underrated, and it's fucking like 1 in a million by Aaliyah, or When I See You by Fantasia. Those songs did not top the charts, but they were not underrated.
They
but
were not.
At that point in time, Billboard was different than it is now. So it's like we're gonna have to start thinking differently about how we consume music and the metrics that we use to determine how well a song or an album is doing.
Is the music good? That's what should matter, because there's some stuff that I listen to, I know you're not listening to. I listened to the intro of Succession. I know everybody loves the intro of Succession.
I haven't watched it.
Now, I listened to Around the World in 40 Days or something. It's the scores. I love it. Like, it gets me going.
I know.
It does everything. Girls know I love a good score. But it ain't doing number one, but it's good to me. It's moving me. But yeah, like, I think we need to do a better job of how we see music doing well, because everybody can't have fans sharing $20 to get them to buy 69-cent singles. No. So I don't know what to
Okay, because girl, I want to drag it so bad, but I'm gonna keep it cute.
Keep it cute for now. But Chloe, we love you. Continue to be great. Continue to make beautiful music.
Yes.
And I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope you all enjoyed this. Please follow Deshaun on Twitter. What is it, Deshaun?
Deshaun LH, Twitter and Instagram and TikTok.
I love that you put the L in. You got all you do on the TikTok, you be giving music.
Yeah, sometimes.
What else you be giving on TikTok?
I also do like
Covers and stuff?
No, the videos of like, what artist is this, or like what celebrity is.
So you're not teaching us on TikTok?
No. If you want to be taught, do not go to my TikTok. Go everywhere else. TikTok is just for me to have a little fun.
Yeah, a little fun in the summertime. All right, y'all follow Deshaun, and thank you so much, Deshaun, for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Period.